welcome. Once again, I think a lot of you, a huge percentage of you are already here in Saskatchewan, which is wonderful. But those of you who are not, you're still part of our group. So still welcome nevertheless. Hopefully you'll be on your way soon. So this Q&A is all about international services. So like literally we are focused on that. That's why I've said in the other Q&As, a lot of you have had a ton of questions about international, which once again is completely valid. But that's why we decided to do one session dedicated solely to international so that, again, you can ask whatever you need. And you have 3 advisors here who know what they're talking about and are here to help you. So thank you for showing up. And just know that by showing up to this, I know you'll probably still have some questions. Things might not be 1000% clear about everything with Sask Polytech, but just know that coming to these sessions, you're already like 20 steps ahead of everyone else, because most people don't really know a lot of stuff until either the first day of classes or, again, international orientation, which will be next week, which these folks will talk more about. So the fact that you came here even more proactively just says a lot about, I think, how you're going to do in school. It's a good sign. You're all very ahead of it, and you will be absolute pros with everything, even before school starts. So thank you for showing up and being proactive. This is a land acknowledgement. I will explain what it is after I read it. So we would like to acknowledge that Saskatchewan Polytechnic is situated on Treaty 4 and Treaty 6 territories and the ancestral lands of the Cree, Saulteaux, Dene, Dakota, Lakota, and Nakota peoples, and the traditional homeland of the Métis. So what is a land acknowledgement and why do we do it? Here, before all else, I'm going to send this link into the chat. I encourage you to read or to visit that link and read about it whenever you can on your own time. So there's always so much that we can be educated on, especially in terms of Canadian history. So a land acknowledgement is a formal statement that recognizes the unique and enduring relationship that exists between Indigenous peoples of what is now called Canada and their traditional territories here. It's really important to understand that there's a long-standing history that's brought us, those of us who are non-Indigenous, to reside on this land, to play on it, to work on it. So we always should be seeking our understanding of our place within that history. It's also really important to understand that land acknowledgements shouldn't exist in like a historical or past tense context, because the concept of colonialism is an current ongoing process, and we all need to be mindful of our participation in that. So once again, I encourage you to read about that on your own when you can. We also have Indigenous advisors on all campuses who are always there to provide further knowledge and education about all of this. So I encourage you to utilize that. Okay. All right. So without further ado, I will quit talking so much, and I'll introduce our international student advisors that are here answering your questions and just being wonderful, knowledgeable humans. So we have Faith, who is from the Moose Jaw campus. I'll let them do a better introduction of themselves. Yevgen is also from the Moose Jaw campus. So those of you in Moose Jaw, you will see a lot of them, and you probably have already heard from them already. And then Carlos is up in Prince Albert. So without further ado, I will hand this off to all of you, if you'd like to go ahead and start.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Yevgen Pirogov, and I'm International Student Advisor in Moose Jaw. Yeah, I'm glad to see everyone at our presentation. And today we're going to go through some of those questions, so through some of those the most common questions that we are getting from international students. So most of the students ask about traveling to Canada, about enrollment verification, about housing, about transportation, about work authorization and health card. So today we're going to go through some of the questions, and if you have any questions, please feel free to send them in the chat box. And then also after we will be done with all those 8 questions, we're also going to have some time for Q&A. So I'm going to start with the first question. So first question is, what immigration documents do I need to enter Canada? So in regards to the documents that you need to enter Canada, Firstly, if your study permit application has been approved to study in Canada, you will need to have a copy of your port of entry letter of introduction. So that's the letter that visa office sent you when they approve your study permit application. So make sure that you do not travel to Canada without letter of introduction. Second document is you should have a valid travel document to travel to Canada. That should be your passport. So make sure that your passport is valid, that it does not expire, because if it's been expired, you won't be able to travel. Also, please make sure that you have if you're from visa required country, make sure that you have visa on your passport. So if your study permit application has been approved, your visa office in your home country will ask you for your passport, and they will provide you with the visa sticker on your passport. So make sure that you have your visa if you're from visa required country. If you're from visa exempt country, so if you make sure that you have a valid ETA, valid electronic travel authorization. Also make sure that you also have a copy of your valid letter of acceptance from Saskatchewan Polytechnic. So make sure that your letter of acceptance is still valid, so there are no mistakes in your letter. So if there are any mistakes in your letter, so make sure that you contact the international office, and then they will be able to assist you with that. Please also have enough money for your stay. So when you apply for your study permit application, they also ask you for proof of financial support. They ask you if you have enough money to stay in Canada. So make sure that you have that amount. So for example, if you're traveling to Canada by yourself, that amount is $10,000. And if you have a family member, so that amount is different. For example, if you're traveling with your spouse, so then that amount is I believe it's $400 for your first family member, and then $3,000 for any other accompanying family member. Make sure that you also have your valid immigration medical exams result if you need one. So make sure that your exam is, please note that your exam is valid for 12 months from the date that you get it, and it also must be valid the day you enter Canada. And for the list of the documents that you require to travel to Canada, I can send it in the chat box so everyone can access it here. So it's available on the on IRCC website. So please make sure that you learn about the documents that you need to travel to Canada. So in regards to your letter of acceptance, so you can always access the document from your MySAS Polytech account. Please also note that travel support letter and enrollment verification is not required for new students traveling to Canada, because sometimes students, they send us emails or ask us in the Zoom meetings, like if they require travel support letter. So as you can see from the Government of Canada website, travel support letter is not required for students to travel to Canada. So your letter of acceptance should be sufficient proof that you are coming to Canada to study.
And so Yevgen, can I just make some clarification on that piece? Because there's two sets of documents that will be available to our students. Before they start the program, they are considered as accepted student, meaning they receive a letter confirming they've met our admission requirements, and they are expected to be registered or enrolled in our program. However, soon as the student starts their program, they are considered as enrolled students. And so for this reason, they should be able to receive an enrollment verification, or otherwise known as confirmation of enrollment. So these two sets of documents are different. So as Yevgen mentioned, if you're coming into Canada before school start date, you are considered as an accepted student, and therefore only letter of acceptance will be required by IRCC. However, if you're traveling while you're on a regularly scheduled break, then you may be holding some enrollment verification. And so when you re-enter Canada, you may have to provide some documentation confirming that you are currently attending the institution. So again, like make sure to attend our international orientation. We'll be discussing more about these kind of documents. But yeah, back to you, Yevgen. Sorry to jump in. Mhm.
Yeah, thank you, Faith. And one more thing that we also would like to mention is health insurance. So before arriving in Canada, we also highly encourage students to purchase travel medical insurance to cover your stay before you will have access to your Saskatchewan health card. So my colleague Faith Sala will talk more about Saskatchewan health card application, what's being covered by Saskatchewan health card. But please note that once you come to Canada, you'll be, if you're eligible, like if you're a full-time student studying at Saskatchewan Polytechnic, if you have a valid study permit, you'll be eligible to apply for Saskatchewan health card. So you can only do this from within Canada, so you cannot do this from outside of Canada. And the processing time for Saskatchewan health card might take for up to 6 to 8 weeks. So therefore, for the first please be prepared that for the first 6 to 8 weeks in Canada, you won't be covered by medical insurance. So just in case, like if you need to see a family doctor, if you need to go to emergency room, you'll be expected to pay for those visits. So therefore, if you have opportunity, please purchase travel health insurance in your home country to cover at least 6 to 8 weeks of your stay in Canada. Yeah, so that's in regards to the documents that you require to travel to Canada. And the second question in our questionnaire is how do I register for my classes? So at Saskatchewan Polytechnic, you don't have to worry about class registration. You don't have to register yourself in the classes. Enrollment services typically register students in their classes 2 to 4 weeks before classes begin. And once you're formally registered, you should be able to see your classes by logging into your Brightspace account. So make sure that you have access to Brightspace account, and please visit Brightspace and to see all of your classes. So you can do this from MySAS Polytech portal by clicking on a Brightspace icon. We also would like to emphasize that you as an international student, so if you're thinking to be eligible for post-graduation work permit, and if you're also thinking to work in Canada, if your study permit will allow you to work in Canada, please make sure that you also registered full-time. So being registered full-time at Saskatchewan Polytechnic means to be taking at least 60% of your course load. And if you have any more questions about class registration, so if you see any errors in class registration, like if you're not able to see all of your classes that you were supposed to register, please contact enrollment services at your campus city, and their staff will be able to assist you. We also get a lot of questions about the program schedule. So in regards to the program schedule, please know that program schedule will come from your program head. And in some cases, your program schedule might not be available until the very first day of the class. So please make sure that you check your SAS Polytech email, because all communication from your program head, from your instructors, from other services will be there. So please make sure that you check your SAS Polytech email. So please plan to be studying full-time from Monday to Friday. And many of our programs begin between 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. and finish around 3 or 4 p.m. And some of the programs, especially postgraduate programs, they might start later, for example, around 12 p.m. and might end around 8 or 9 p.m. So that's in regards to the class registration. The third question is, how can I get my enrollment verification? Faith already mentioned what is the difference between being accepted to Saskatchewan Polytechnic and what does it mean to be enrolled in the classes. So please note that enrollment verification is only available once the student is enrolled and or attending their program. So you only be able to get your enrollment verification once you start your classes. So in the meantime, please use your acceptance letter as a proof that you been accepted to your program. In order to order your enrollment verification, you'll be able to do it online through your MySAS Polytech account. So once you go to MySAS Polytech account, if you click on the menu and in the student home, you'll be able to find enrollment services section, and then please find the enrollment verification section. So choose your term, click continue, and complete your address, email information, and then click on submit request. So you will get your enrollment verification within an hour through my electronic letters. So the same way how you receive your acceptance letter. So your enrollment verification will populate in your MySAS Polytech account. We also would like to emphasize that before ordering your enrollment verification, please also ensure that you updated your permanent address with Saskatchewan Polytechnic. So once you travel to Canada, once you're able to finalize your stay in Canada, please make sure that you update your address. So you can update us with your Canadian address on the MySAS Polytech account. So please so you'll be able to do it under change of the student name or contact information. So please do it before you request your enrollment verification. The next question in our questionnaire is how can I find housing in my campus city? So firstly, we would like to highly encourage you to explore our International Student Guide. So International Student Guide was created by International Student Advising Team to help students in their planning of their trip to Canada. Kelsey, I'm wondering if you can also share the link with the students, how students can find International Student Guide on international page. So in our International Student Guide, you'll be able to find information about housing, about food and shopping, about employment, about climate, childcare, adaptation, clothing. So please explore our International Student Guide. So there is a lot of useful information there. In regards to the housing, the best resources about housing can be found on our website under Student Life page. So Kelsey can also tell you more about how to find that page. She can also share the link how you can find the housing page. So in regards to the housing, so we offer on-campus housing at Prince Albert campus. So unfortunately, that's the only place where we offer on-campus housing at this time. So if you will be studying at Prince Albert campus, please know that Saskatchewan Polytechnic Prince Albert campus features 36 two-bedroom townhouse style units. So those units, they're safe and affordable for full-time students studying with Saskatchewan Polytechnic, and it's also available for students coming to study in Canada with their families. So you can explore more about on Prince Albert housing on our housing page under Prince Albert housing. In regards to off-campus housing, so that might be a different option, or if you are from Saskatoon, Regina, or Moose Jaw. So for off-campus housing, we would highly encourage you to explore our local platforms to search for off-campus housing. So those include Kijiji, Rentals.ca, Facebook Marketplace, Rentboard, Craigslist. We also encourage you to search on Facebook and WhatsApp groups. So we know that there are also that some of our international students, they also create Facebook and WhatsApp groups. So they share some information. They are looking for roommates. So if you are still looking for roommate to share your accommodation, please search for those Facebook and WhatsApp groups. And also, if you are also looking for housing, so you can also make your own posts. So if you're coming, for example, if you're coming with the family, you can also provide some details about the family, about what type of accommodation you're looking for, what would be your price range, and then let your prospective landlords to contact you. So that might be another option if you're searching for housing. We also highly encourage you to join our International Student Orientation next week. So next week we have International Student Orientation. On August 22nd, we have International Student Orientation in Prince Albert. So you'll be able to meet my coworker, Carlos, there. And if you'll be joining our program in Regina, Saskatoon, and Moose Jaw, we are hosting International Student Orientation on next Thursday, August 24th. So we highly encourage you to register for orientation. So, and if you attend our orientation, you'll be able to meet other students from your program, from other programs. So it also might be helpful if you can make some connections. And also if you're looking for roommates, that also might be helpful. I also would like to mention that Saskatchewan Polytechnic also has a partnership with University of Regina. So if you'll be studying in Regina, or if you are thinking to stay in Regina and study in Moose Jaw, but the distance between this Regina and Moose Jaw is just 65 kilometers. So if you consider staying on campus, if you consider staying at the University of Regina, please note that we have special pricing. They have a special pricing for our international students for upcoming fall and winter semesters. So if your application is received by January 15, 2024. So to apply for University of Regina housing, please visit their webpage. It's uregina.ca/housing. So I can also send you that information in the chat box. Just a second. Yeah, so that option is available for students studying in Regina and Moose Jaw. Yes, and we also would like to mention that please try to book your accommodation as soon as possible. And because accommodations near campus, they're also often full around this time. So, and in case if you're not able to find accommodation near your campus, please also consider one accessible through city bus. So all our campus cities, so Saskatchewan Polytechnic has 4 campus cities. So that includes Saskatoon, Regina, Moose Jaw, and Prince Albert. Each our campus city has public bus transportation. So we highly encourage you to explore transit system in your campus city, to find information on bus routes and schedule. So then you'll be able to travel and to visit your classes. We also would like to mention that there are also some short-term housing options available in Canada. So if you need a place to stay for a short time, so if you would like to travel to Canada and search for housing, visit some places, meet some landlords personally, so you might be able to use Airbnb and Kijiji as a short-term rental options. So these are the options available for international students thinking to looking for housing. And if you're also looking for housing, we also highly encourage you to connect with SPSA, because they also keep a housing registry for international students. So you can also check with them. And so if you have any questions, please feel free to visit our campus cities, because our international student advisors are available from Monday to Friday from between 8:30 and 4:30. And let us know if you need any help. And now my coworker Faith Salva will go with you through the rest of the questions on our questionnaire. And if you have any questions, please always feel free to ask them in the chat box. So we're gonna be monitoring our chat box to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Yevgen. So yeah, I just noticed in the chat box, there's a question, how to get from Moose Jaw to Regina, from Regina Airport by public transportation. So as Yevgen earlier mentioned, there will be 2 types of bus that you might be encountering. There is one that's city bus. So this bus, it's a fixed route that within the city. However, if you need to travel from one city to another, you may want to check out the Rider Express. That's the most common bus service that's currently available across the province. So that's Rider Express. If you are studying in Moose Jaw and Regina, the best airport to fly into will be the Regina Airport. And if you'll be studying in Saskatoon and Prince Albert, the best airport to fly into will be Saskatoon Airport. So basically, like Prince Albert will be 2.5 hours away from Saskatoon, while our Moose Jaw campus is around 50 minutes away from the Regina International Airport. So I'd encourage visiting the Rider Express website for information about the bus schedule. I have here a very brief information. They usually have a service daily except Saturday for Moose Jaw. Bus that's travel from Regina to Moose Jaw is available from Sunday to Friday except Saturday. And you will have to ride the taxi, airport taxi, to bring you to the boarding location. So currently it departs Sunday to Friday at 1:15 p.m. from 2820B Avonthurst Drive, Regina. So it's actually 10 minutes away from the airport. I will try to post this information in a bit in our chat box. And also, please take note for Prince Albert campus, the bus is not running on a daily basis. It's only available every Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So it departs at 11:30 a.m. from 210 2nd Avenue North, Saskatoon. So that will be 10 minutes drive from airport as well. So you will have to take that airport taxi to this location and then board, and then you will be sent to the campus location. So again, like once you reach your city campus, you will likely need to book that Uber or taxi to get you to your accommodation. So as Yevgen indicated earlier, there is also bus running in every campus city. Please contact SPSA as they usually sell the monthly bus pass. So if you are not able to find an accommodation that's very close to your campus, you may want to explore options that may require you from taking bus. So please visit your city bus web, your city government website. They typically provide the link for transportation, including the survey, including the schedule, the fare, and the route. We'd also encourage you to download the Google app in your phone, as it offers some tools where you can plan your trip. So in Saskatchewan, or in Saskatoon, for instance, or Moose Jaw, Prince Albert, and Regina, you may need to transfer from one bus to another to get into certain location in your city, and these Google Map tools will be able to help you navigate what time you need to leave and what time you are expecting your next bus to come in. So I'd recommend checking out those Google Map tools. And also the Saskatoon Transit also offers a specific tools, but currently only available for City of Saskatoon. Okay, and then the next one is the next question is, am I eligible to work in Canada while pursuing my studies? When can I start working in Canada, and for how many hours? So again, I highly encourage our student to attend our international student orientation, as we will dig deeper on this authorization to work. So basically, if you are a registered student at an eligible DLI, okay, and you are studying full-time every academic term except that final semester, you'd be eligible to work off campus and on campus. However, you need to be registered in a program full-time except that final semester. So when we say registered in a program, again, that means you are actually attending a program. You are not just receiving a letter of acceptance, but you are actually attending the program. So that means if you haven't started your programs yet, make sure that you're not yet working. So if your schools or your classes starts August 28th, then that's the only time you can start working under your off-campus or on-campus work authorization. And for how many hours? Generally, the number of hours that you're allowed to work is up to 20 hours while classes are in session, but you can work full-time or overtime if you're on a regularly scheduled break. So what this means is if there is that Christmas break or there is a break between your first term and second term, that 4-month gap, that's considered scheduled break, so you can work full time. However, last year there is a temporary measure that was provided by IRCC, where if you submit an application for your current study permit on or before October 7 of 2022, you will be allowed to work full-time while classes are in session. So under this temporary measure is expected to end December 31st or until your current study permit expires. This kind of work authorization could be tricky for our students, so I'd recommend connecting with our advisors if you have any questions and if you would like to confirm. But otherwise, make sure that if you're not sure, make sure you're only working up to 20 hours. Okay. And then next one is, how can I apply for Saskatchewan Health Card? What is the difference between Saskatchewan Health Card and the SPSA Health and Dental Benefit Plan? So once you start your program and once you are living in Saskatchewan, you may be eligible for the Saskatchewan Health Card. So this is a provincial health benefit that covers when you need to see a doctor, a specialist, or you'll be hospitalized. You will be covered under the Saskatchewan Health Card. However, there is a small portion that you pay through your tuition, an SPSA or Student Association fee, which include the extended health and dental benefit plan. So what this covers is those prescription, those eyeglasses, emergency ambulance ride, or if you need to visit a dentist or have a routine dental check. So those kind of coverage will be covered under your SPSA health and dental benefit plan. I'd recommend connecting directly with SPSA for information about the coverage. So typically it's not 100% coverage. So you know how much coverage you have under your plan. And also sometimes, Kelsey, our students don't like to visit the dental office because they have the impression it's so expensive in Canada, right? And I'd encourage students to use this dental plan. What they can do is visit the dental office, request for a quotation before they do the work on their dental office. Request for that quotation so that they know how much the coverage under their plan and how much they're expected to cover, so that way they won't be overwhelmed and surprised. But at the end of the day, I'd highly encourage looking after themselves, continue going to those eye checkups and those routine dental cleaning, as they have this kind of coverage. And also, just a reminder, make sure to apply for Saskatchewan Health Card soon as they are eligible, because their health and dental under SPSA won't kick in unless they are actually holding their Saskatchewan Health Card. Okay, and then the next one is how I can reach out to International Education Office for help. If you can move forward, Kelsey, there is a slide where they can check the link. So this is the QR code for our office, or you can type in your browser saspolytech.ca/ISA. So typically, we, your advisor, will be open for walk-ins that first week before school start or that week after school start. But we'd highly encourage students to book that appointment to meet me, Carlos, Yevgan, and all other advisors, so that you have a guaranteed slot. Sometimes you can try walking in, but if we are serving other students who've booked that appointment earlier, we may not be able to assist you at that time. So we'd highly encourage students to try practicing booking an appointment way in advance, as typically, if your concern is about immigration or IRCC concerns, right, it may take a bit of time, and there are times too where there is high traffic in our office. So for you to be able to guarantee a slot, we'd recommend booking appointment in advance. And yeah, like please make sure to sign up for that for our international student orientation, we will be providing more thorough information regarding like your study permit conditions, co-op work permits, what happens if you fail class and you're no longer a registered student, like all those because if to be eligible for postgrad work permit, there are also conditions that you need to meet. So you need to be actively pursuing studies and making that reasonable progress towards completing your program. So we'd highly recommend not missing those orientation coming August 22nd at Prince Albert campus and August 24th on Moose Jaw, Regina, and Saskatoon campus. Okay, I think I've answered some of the question. I believe we can answer other questions that our students may have, Kelsey.
Yeah, so I've compiled a bit of a list here, so apologies if some of these have been answered in the chat, but you know what? Even still, it's good to hear it again. So, okay, and I think Yevgen did send some information, but I think it's good to know anyway. So someone, Henrietta, you asked, I deferred my admission from January to August, but my study permit was approved based on the January admission. So now I have a study permit that will expire before the end of my program. How do I extend it?
Right. Thank you, Kelsey, for that question. I'd recommend a student booking that appointment with either one of the advisor closer to the expiry date. So IRCC won't allow you extend your study permit way too in advance. So typically, we'd recommend student applying for that extension 90 to 30 days before their current permit expires. So basically, the documents you need to provide at time of extension will depend where you're at during your studies. So IRCC will be looking at whether you've remained compliant on the condition on your previous studies. And so that's where your enrollment verification, transcript, and letter of acceptance will be needed. So again, 3 to 4 months before the expiry of your study permit, book an appointment with your advisor, and then we'll walk you through what are the required documents. But of course, make sure you've remained compliant so that by the time you're applying for extension, you won't have any problem. But the other thing, Kelsey, is student also will still require that proof of sufficient fund to cover costs of living and tuition. So this kind of requirement, you may want to plan ahead of time so that at time of your application for extension, you may have sufficient fund to show to IRCC. But again, if you're working part-time during that period, you can also include your pay stubs or letter of employment from current employer showing your current earnings. Yeah. Okay.
Emily, that should answer your question too, because you had a similar one about supply chain. So
Right.
two birds with one stone. Okay, there's a few questions sort of revolving around the same theme here. So what is the latest that they can arrive to Canada for school? Latest arrival date.
Right. So we don't encourage student coming in late. We'd always ask student to arrive by start date of the program. So if it's showing August 28th, please arrive by August 28th. Historically, Kelsey, if student needs that 1 week class, 2 weeks class, it impacts their ability to be successful in the program. And some of our programs, they will not allow student to arrive late. There are programs where they do the safety classes during that first day, second day. And if you miss that class, program will not allow you stay in the program, and you will be forced to find another program that you're not interested in, or worst case, you'll have to move to another institution. Please contact international at saspolytech.ca. So our unit is divided into two. So we, International Student Advisor, we will be helping student navigating their studies as they arrive in Canada, while our International Enrollment Services, they are facilitating the admission in the program. So if they need to defer their admission to next available intake, or they need to check whether they need to change a program, or they want to move to January term or apply to another program at another campus at a different intake, then they'll have to contact international@saspolytech.ca. So for this case, those students who are expected to arrive like within that week after school start, please contact international@saspolytech.ca. You will require approval. If your program did not approve that you arrived late, unfortunately, we can't let you in the class if the program is not allowing late acceptance. So make sure to contact International before you arrange to come to Canada. Okay.
Again, you're on it. He's
Mhm,
answered so many of these just so quickly.
Right.
Okay. Well, there's a couple of recent ones that okay. Actually, there is a common theme here I'm seeing about course registration. Some people are asking about like, how do I register for my courses, or I'm confused about this. Can you explain that, how their registration works?
So yes, as Yevgen also covered earlier, unlike in our university, where you select classes, at SAS Polytech, your classes are already pre-arranged, and there's no option to select like what time to come in or like what section you want to pick. Everything is already pre-arranged. You will be registered by our enrollment services. Your classes will start appearing in your My Courses close to start date of the program, typically that 2 weeks before school start up to that first week after school start. Enrollment services will be registering you in your classes. You don't need to worry about registering yourself, but you just have to wait until your classes appears in your portal. If you have question regarding your courses, please stop by our enrollment services. Typically, their office are by main entrance of each campus. If you think you're not being registered in the right class, or if you have question about like what's your actual tuition remaining balance after for the current intake or current term, please stop by our enrollment services.
Perfect. Okay, also a couple of questions about the paying. Okay, I think there's two separate things here. Number one, when is the absolute latest they can pay their tuition fee for the full year?
Right. So as per tuition and fee policy, Kelsey, international students are expected to pay their full year tuition by start date of the program. When we say start date, we'd say at least that first week after school start. Sometimes a student may still be charged, like they can still pay after that first week, but definitely make sure to contact financial services if they're not paying the full year tuition by the deadline date. Otherwise, there will be a hold in students' account. So if they're not able to pay by the deadline date, their account will be on hold and they will be subject to late fee or interest charges. So please arrange your tuition in advance. Once you're in your second year, if you're applying for a second program or you're in your second year of studies with us, you can start paying by semester. But while you're on your first year, please try paying tuition by start date of the program, or at least that first week after school start.
Okay. So give me just a sec. Oh, again, Yevgen, you are on it.
Right. And the other thing, Kelsey, is if your account is on hold, you won't be able to download your enrollment verification or your transcript. And so if you're needing to apply for that Saskatchewan health card or needing to extend your study permits, if your account are on hold, you won't be able to generate those documents. So it's important that you pay your tuition by deadline.
And just while I have everyone, I just want to quickly answer your question. It's not the most relevant. I'm sorry, I'll make it very quick. I've had a few questions about those of you who are attending a campus in Saskatoon that's not the main campus, and you're wondering about campus tours. So there's no formal campus tours that are being done, like today, for example, is like the last general campus tour. It's all just the main buildings or the main building of Saskatoon. So you have kind of a few options here. So I know a couple of you are on Avenue W, for example, and I think someone's in the Phoenix building. If you want to still go to the Saskatoon campus tour today on the main campus, it's still worth it, I would say, to understand that campus, even though it might not be the one you actively have all of your classes on. Also, the first day of classes, because the campuses are relatively small, you will be shown around on that first day. So I just want to quickly say that because I told a student I would follow up on that. So I just got the answer about it. So anyway, wanted to add that.
Yeah.
Oh, and then we also have a question that just came in about, I was unable to attend the social insurance number session. Will this be covered on how to apply and where in the international orientation next week?
Right. So our Service Canada will be on campus. If you're not able to attend while they're on campus, you can always apply online through Service Canada website. So in the past, they would require proof of residency, but currently they will only require your study permit plus the passport or government issued ID. Please make sure before you apply for a SIN number that you are authorized to work. So what that means is your study permit includes that condition at the very bottom of your document that says you're authorized to work or accept employment off campus or on campus while you're studying and meeting some eligibility criteria. If you're missing that word in your document, please reach out to an advisor, as you will require an amendment before you're able to apply for a SIN number and before you can start working off campus or on campus. Okay. So yeah, I will try to throw the link from Service Canada, but we also have the SIN clinic on our campus for, I think, do we have those scheduled? Because I think I have a schedule. So for Mustra campus on Thursday, August 24th, they will be on campus. Regina, August 24th as well, and 25th, and on August 30th. And then in Saskatoon campus from August 28th to August 31st, and Prince Albert on August 30th. So you haven't missed anything yet. Just please note of the time that Service Canada will be on campus. It's also posted on our social media account. If you haven't followed the SAS Polytech students and SAS Polytech _international, please follow us in social media as well, as we provide some good reminders on what's happening on campus. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, or thank you, Carlos, you just answered that. Once again, I know it's not the most relevant to international specifically, but this is definitely the common question I've been getting with all Q&As, which is very valid. So I know, again, you have your course registration, but you probably don't have your actual schedule or your timetable yet. Just keep checking your SAS Polytech email. Your program heads will be sending that to you via email within the next few weeks. I know, unfortunately, I understand everyone they need to plan out their life, of course, right? So hopefully by the first day of classes, you will have your course schedule sent to you. And if not, maybe this is just I like to be a little disturber, but I would just email your program head and ask. And if you are wondering who your program head is, you can always ask me and I can help you find it. But overall, just wait it out if you can. You will get it over email. You just need to check your SAS Polytech email. So don't check your Hotmail or your AOL. Okay, it's going to be your SAS Polytech email that they would be sending that to. Anyway,
And just to add on that, Kelsey, because if students are traveling from their home country to Canada, and as you are aware, there is that MFA, multi-factor authentication that you need in order to log into your My SAS Polytech portal. So please so there's two ways to do MFA. So one is through SMS, through your mobile phone, and also the Authenticator app, Microsoft Authenticator app. So typically, if student is not accessing the the Authenticator app, if they travel and their SMS are not working in Canada, they may be locked out of their SAS Polytech portal. So again, we'd recommend, if you haven't traveled yet, make sure to download the multi-factor authenticator app, or MS Microsoft Authenticator app, so that once you travel, you still gain that access through your My SAS Polytech portal. It is important to have access because that's how you get services available to you, and that's where you access your SAS Polytech emails and My Electronic Letters.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put in help desk's information for switching your phone number, because that's where you're gonna have to go to get that fixed. Like if you have a number from India and you are getting a Canadian phone number when you get here, you'll have to fix that through help desk. So I'm just sending the contact information in the chat. Okay, and then Faith, we have a few, I know you've touched on it before, but maybe just one more brief overview of working in Canada as an international student.
Right. So Kelsey, yes, the very important piece that student needs to remember is they need to maintain that registration status in a program. So if a student is only applying, studying online, that don't give them a registration status in a program. If students switch from one program to another and they did not complete the previous program, they are considered withdrawn from a program. So if there is those break in between programs, then they lose that registration status. So again, if students are actively pursuing studies, maintaining enrollment in the same program every academic term except final semester, then they can continuously work up to 20 hours while classes are in session, and full-time if they're on regularly scheduled break. So these are the areas where we advisor will be here to support you. If your current situation changes, if there is sometimes we cannot avoid that there is some changes in our program, right? Like or there are challenges in the class where you are failing one class, two class, or sometimes if students are not successful in progressing in the program, they will receive this letter where they will be required to discontinue. This all affects your registration in your program and ultimately affects your your current work authorization. So if you are in those kind of cases, please reach out to an international advisor. Every case is different. Uh, the advice you need to receive needs to come from us directly. Sometimes students go to another students who have a similar case. Please make sure not to do that or ask question in social media. Me and Yevgan are currently regulated international student immigration advisor. We were trained and we were licensed by the government to provide the specific international immigration advices. So please reach out to us instead of other friends or in another platform. So again, if you are enrolled full-time in a program, you're able to work full up to 20 hours, but once you're no longer a registered student, you need to stop working and come see us before the end of your semester.
Yeah, fun fact, as I told a lot of you, I am still, I don't even have my permanent residence yet. I am on a work visa. I am American and I was an international student too. And I definitely messed up one time and was working for a little bit when my visa or my permit said not to, and it was a whole ordeal. So you definitely don't want to go through that. Trust me, it was not fun. I'm good now, but yeah, so look at the fine print, because I didn't pay much attention to mine and I learned the hard way. So I've been there. Trust me.
That's right, Kelsey. Because yeah, like the student needs to ensure they are working within the allowable hours, right? So if the ultimate goal was to apply for post-grad work permit and eventually to a permanent residency, unfortunately, IRCC will always look into whether you've remained compliant on the condition on your previous status. And one way to do that is making sure you are working, you're working with proper work authorization. Mhm.
Okay, someone asked, do we need to submit our study permit before our classes start?
So you can share your document to international at saspolytech.ca. The registration will keep information under your file. However, students are actually not mandated, like institution are not mandated to check in every student whether they have the proper documentation. The onus to ensure that you have the proper documentation or authorization is on our student. So we want to ensure that you have a valid study permit while you're studying at SAS Polytech, or at least on that maintained status. Maintained status means you've submitted an application for extension before the expiry date of your current study permit. So the responsibility will be on our student to ensure that their study permit is valid, or they have the proper authorization at all times while they're attending at the institution, because me, Yevgan, and Carlos will be here to provide that support, Kelsey. If students have questions regarding like what are their authorization, the condition attached to their temporary permits, that's where we come in. But the responsibility is on our student to ensure that they are compliant. IRCC institution, we will come to you to remind you, hey, you need to extend that study permit. It is they have to make sure that they have always the like a valid status while they're in Canada. Mhm. So if a student ends up not enrolling within 150 days, so sometimes there are cases where student needs to take a leave in studies for medical reason, pregnancy, or some emergency case. Remember, you cannot stay in Canada without being enrolled for more than 150 days. So again, those compliance piece will come in. If you're not enrolling, make sure you're leaving Canada or changing your status to that of a visitor or a worker. So again, me, Carlos, and other advisor will be here if you are in one of these situations. Please don't hesitate to book an appointment or contact us. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, this is a good question. I know there's other questions about employment. We'll get there. I just think this other question is quite important because we had a few of them yesterday. I know the answer, but I want you to explain it better than me. So someone just asked, can I attend the orientation nearest to my place, like to another campus? I can't in my camp, or so basically if someone is in Saskatoon, but they're hoping to attend the PA international orientation, is that possible?
The content of orientation will likely be similar, Kelsey, but it would also be better if they come to their campus, because like those specific campus concern and the support service, right? Like we will be introducing some services available to our students on that particular campus. So it might be a better idea to come and meet your advisor on your particular campus. But it's not the end of the world if you're not able to come on your particular campus. At least attend that session in other campuses. Just make sure to register.
Okay, so another person asked, I'm enrolled at the Regina campus, but my co-op work permit employment location is Saskatoon. I'm just confused.
Right. So the main campus is the Saskatoon campus. So most of our documents when filling up form, the campus location will be showing Saskatoon. However, given that you just want to ensure that Saskatoon is showing under the employer location, not as a condition on your study permit. Okay, so if it's a condition, then you need to make sure that you're meeting the condition on your document. But if it's showing as employer location Saskatoon, then that should be fine. Our co-op work permits are open work permits, so it will allow you work at with any employers that's arranged by the institution. So again, for this kind of questions, you can always book appointment with some of our advisor, and if we can also limit our questions to general questions, so that we we protect privacy of our students too. Yeah. Thanks, Kelsey.
Okay, just a couple more here. So someone said, I got my social insurance number in Manitoba, but I just noticed that there's a mistake on my postal code. Am I able to correct it with Service Canada on campus during the orientation on the 24th?
Right. So the SIN number, it won't require that you 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 have the updated address, but I'd recommend if you will be on campus the day that Service Canada will be in, feel free to visit their table, and they can help you how to update your address in the system. Mm-hmm.
I just keep saying I wish I had this when I was at the U of R. I didn't have any of this stuff. So this is amazing. I had no idea what I was doing.
Yes.
Okay, so someone just said, should I update my Canadian address as my permanent address? I updated it as a current address.
Right. So again, like our registration services processes their documents if they need to capture a address on your document, such as the enrollment verification. They will be capturing the permanent address in the system. Once you graduate from our program and we're sending out those transcript and graduation package, we will be using the permanent address on the system. So again, please, if you're currently residing in Canada and you want to receive those documents and you want to have your current Canadian address be printed in your documents, please update your permanent address through your My SAS Polytech portal. I know like it's quite tricky, like permanent address is always your back home country's address, but as internal process, it is the documents that's being used most of the time by our enrollment services. Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, we got a couple more employment questions. So someone asked, how do I find work in Canada when studying? Is there any campus work placement or any guidance on how to find work as a newcomer?
Right. So again, Kelsey, I would always remind student the main activity needs to be studying. We've seen some students who are prioritizing work over studies. Sometimes you don't realize the long-term benefit of working on your studies compared to, like putting a lot of, we know we're excited, of course. There is potential to earn while you're studying, but you want to always ensure that you are also prioritizing work. Sometimes students don't realize if you fail a class, you will have to pay another tuition to retake those classes. And there are some programs where it's only available once every year, and it could impact the entire duration of their academic plan. So again, but of course, we do have our employment services on campus. If you have any questions regarding employment trends, how to navigate the Canadian recruitment. They also offer various sessions throughout the year, but there are also community supports. There are regional newcomers available in your community that you can reach out to regarding finding work. But the main classified is SAS Jobs. So that's sasjobs.ca. It's available on all across the province. And there's also sometimes students ask, how can I find jobs on campus? You can always visit the career section from our website. You will have to select you will have to create a profile, and then the page is regularly updated for any available job on campus. However, the number of part-time jobs available to our students on campus are very limited and highly sought after, and so I don't really encourage students to like, usually the recruitment happens once the current students are graduating, and so recruitment happens end of the semester around those regularly scheduled break. April, May, June is when we see most common recruitment happen. Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I know the answer to this question too, but Faith says it better. Does co-op have related jobs does co-op have related jobs that cooperate with the school, or do we need to find it ourselves?
Right. So there's two kind of co-op, Kelsey. There is a definition of co-op under IRCC where if there is a practical component or there is the work component that's required as a mandatory part of your curriculum, then you will require that co-op work permit. So the best way to check whether your program has a co-op is to check that page 3, box 24 of your letter of acceptance. If you have a number in that section, that means your program will require that co-op component and you will need a co-op work permit to attend those practical piece or work term. On the other side, Kelsey, our program at SAS Polytech, we also have the cooperative education. So typically this cooperative education is available on our programs at Moose Jaw campus for the business diploma program and some of the engineering programs. We also have this for the agriculture and food production program in Moose Jaw and the construction management and BIS program in Regina. So this cooperative education our co-op office will be bringing in some employers related to your field, and then students will still undergo a regular recruitment process. So students will be submitting those resume, applying for the job, undergoing those interview. They will be competing with other students or probably a classmate. And then if they're successfully placed, they will be away for like a duration of 12 months to oftentimes the co-op work term is 4 months in duration and could be 3 times or 2 times in your program. So please make sure visit your program page. If your program has that co-op piece, it will be posted in your program page. Typically, it's a mandatory part of the program, but for our business diploma program, the co-op portion will be an option. So students have the option to complete the program in 2 years or include that 4-month work term or 3 months work term or up to 12 months or sorry, it's 3 work terms, 4 months in duration and total of 12 months for the business diploma. And again, like the co-op work permit, if you currently hold a co-op work permit, that can only be used for the co-op portion. So that's only for the employment that's arranged by the institution. It can't be used for your off-campus jobs. So if again, like I just want to send this reminder, if students have that co-op component in their program, meaning those ECE programs or CCA programs where they have a practicum and that page 3 box 24 was showing they have co-op, then please make sure to contact an advisor. We will discuss this more again during orientation. So if you need some information today, don't worry, as we will go over again during our orientation.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
Kelsey.
Yeah, good point. So once
Mhm.
again, like if your question isn't getting fully answered, do not worry. You're already way ahead of it just by being, it will get answered. Okay, so I guess on the co-op topic, someone said I have a 3-week internship or work practicum. Does that mean that my program is co-op?
The best place to check, Kelsey, is the letter of acceptance. So if you are going to if you're checking letter of acceptance, page 3, box 24, and page 4 will be your co-op letter. So if there is a number under page 24 or page 3 of box 24 showing like the co-op or work experience in weeks, if there is a number in your letter of acceptance, then yes, your program includes that practical or co-op component, and you will need that co-op work permit. So I think sometimes students are in panic. They don't have co-op work permit and they're program is already starting, you don't need the co-op work permit by start date of the program, but you need the co-op work permit before starting the work term or that practical piece. So if in doubt, make sure you contact first your program head, check whether when is my practical starting, and then come see an advisor, and then we'll walk you through, like, students can apply for co-op work permit even after they arrive, but it's just subject to current processing time. So currently IRCC is processing co-op work permit for about like 4.5 months to 5 months. So if you can apply the soonest, please make sure contact an advisor to ensure you have the document before your practicum starts.
Sorry, to switch the slide just to make sure that everyone registers for international student orientation.
Right, thanks, Kelsey.
Be good. Okay, I'm probably going to ask something a little bit different just because I think I think with co-op questions, again, like that stuff will be answered, and we're gonna move a little bit past that just so we can cover a couple of other things before the session. So someone asked, what is the requirement to be considered as maintaining a full-time student status? For example, I registered for postgrad 8 months. In term 1, I have 5 courses, but if I just pass 3 out of 5 courses for the term, will I lose the status of full-time student? Because it might affect my postgraduate work permit application.
Right, Kelsey. So again, at SAS Polytech, the definition of full-time is you're enrolled at least 60% of the total course load for the semester. So if you check your program page, each courses has an equivalent credit unit, and so the total for a student to be considered full-time, they need to be taking at least 60% of the total course load. So if a student is, for instance, not successful in some class and it's a prerequisite for another semester, it would definitely impact how many classes they're taking the next term. On those kind of cases, make sure to come meet an advisor, because we need to work with your programs to map out a plan to keep you full-time every academic term except final semester. So at SAS Polytech, Kelsey, remember, like, in order to graduate from our program and receive a credential, you need to pass all the required courses, and passing mark is at 50, but in order to progress, you need that 60% average. So there are quite number of things that student needs to ensure that they're meeting in order to maintain that full-time status every academic term. But once in doubt, or they did midterms, their midterms did not go well as planned, make sure come see us, and then we will present to you some scenarios that may happen in the event that you don't pass, and then we can plan ahead together with your program how we can keep you full-time in the program and keep that work authorization and postgrad work permit eligibility. So again, like, we will discuss more on this during orientation. When in doubt, always book appointment with us. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, looks like, aside from a couple of co-op things, just again, oh, here's a good one. I totally missed this. Sorry, Cherry, sorry about that. Okay, so for CCA students, is the TB testing, will it be provided by the school, or do I need to book that outside of school?
Right. I would recommend contacting the program head. It is a program specific requirement. So once you are, because we understand too, before student arrive in Canada, they have done series of medical screening for students who are applying for like a healthcare setting, right? Like those students in a healthcare setting or will be working with children, they may have undergone some medical screening already. I would encourage you to meet your program head and the program requirement will be explained more by your program head, but when in doubt, you can also see an advisor on your campus. Typically, they may have more information if they have to explain to program head. They've done this kind of screening when they first apply for a study permit. They may be able to support student on those cases. Yeah.
And yeah, just Cherry, just let me know which campus you're attending and I'll find the program head's name for you and I'll send it to you. So just go ahead.
Mhm.
Okay, anything else? Okay. Another Regina campus. Okay. Someone said I don't have any. Okay, we're just going back to co-op. I don't have any co-op in my letter of acceptance. Is it still possible to find some work?
Right. So, sorry, what kind of program is that? Because sometimes our business diploma programs, it has a co-op. However, at time of application, student may have selected that they're only doing the non-co-op diploma program. However, our international student, sometime this March, they will be asked by their program head to declare their specialization for second year. And so they still have the option to whether enroll for that co-op or change their current specialization. So if they opt for the co-op program, then we will generate them another letter of acceptance that includes co-op information and an extended end date. So they can use this document to apply for that co-op work permit or extend later on their current study permit. But this is only available for our business diploma students. Again, please reach out to an advisor if you are eyeing for that co-op. Sometimes we'd encourage students to apply for that co-op work permit, although they're undecided whether they want to do co-op or not, because it's much better that you hold a co-op work permit and not need it than you later on decide, oh, I want to do co-op, but you don't have sufficient time to apply for that co-op work permit. So again, like if you think you want to include co-op in your program, reach out to me or Yevgan, and then we can walk you through how to apply for that co-op work permit and how to obtain that new letter of acceptance.
On this oh yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
Cherry, you don't have a program head right now for Regina, but I'll find you Saskatoons and send that to you. So I just wanted to say that. Okay, do Abiodun, I'll also find your program head and if I don't get to it here, you can just email me and I'll find it. So one student asks, do one-year courses have co-op opportunities?
Right. So when we say the co-op, if they're referring to the co-op cooperative education, so unfortunately, this program is only available to programs that's more than 2 years or 3 years in duration. So the concept of the co-op education is student do those lectures a semester with us, and then they're employed by employers on their field, and then they return to campus to do another learning on campus where they do some application on what they've learned in the field. So again, unfortunately, because of the time constraints, these cooperative education are actually not available for very short programs such as those 8 months or 1 year in duration. But if they're and it's also not available to postgrad programs, but I will throw in the chat box the programs that has a co-op component. Typically, it's the business diploma programs and our engineering programs in Moose Jaw campus, those construction management degree, and the business information systems in Regina. Okay, so.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
But yes, at the end of the day, Kelsey, students are still allowed to work, right? Like they can work off campus. They can try to find their own employment in the related field through their off-campus work authorization. However, it won't be arranged by the institution unless it's in co-op.
Let's see. Oh, again, program heads, I'll find those. We'll do that separately. What else do we have here? Also, feel free. Okay, again, sorry, I'll just answer this. So still a lot of students are asking about their location of your co-op work permit being Saskatoon. Faith did explain that that's just where the main campus is located. That's just like the general, like, you're fine. You can work anywhere in Saskatchewan. It's just, it says Saskatoon because that's where the main Sask Polytech campus is located.
That's right. So make sure it is not showing in the condition. So at the bottom of your, so there's two places that a location might be indicated. So if it's showing under employer, Sask Polytech, employer location, Saskatoon, if it's not showing under the conditions, right, like the very bottom part of your permit, then you should be able to work anywhere, provided that it is not included is as a particular condition on your study permit. So again, like if in doubt, book appointment with us, and then we can verify, bring those documents, and we can verify if you bring those documents during the meeting. Yeah.
Get more questions about program heads. Oh, okay. Do you want to maybe cover a little bit, just while we have a couple of minutes, just a little bit again about the health card situation, just in case someone missed that?
Right, Kelsey. So again, like I think I missed to explain what are the documents required when they're applying for their Saskatchewan health card. So as we earlier indicated, letter of acceptance is different from enrollment verification. So if you're applying for a Saskatchewan health card, you will need to provide copy of your study permit plus an enrollment verification. So Kelsey, we typically see students having their application refused because they've attached a letter of acceptance. So remember, letter of acceptance, it only confirms you're expected to be enrolled at Sask Polytech. Whereas the enrollment verification, it already confirms you are a student. You are attending the institution. It will show what classes you are currently taking in. So it's a snapshot of the current semester. You won't be able to obtain enrollment verification for future terms, but only the current semester. So when applying for that Saskatchewan health card, you need that confirmation of enrollment or the enrollment verification plus study permit. And you also need to prove that you are living in Saskatchewan. So one way to do that is provide a lease agreement from your landlords or your apartments, lease agreement or utility bills such as your cable bill, water bill, energy or power bill. Unfortunately, a copy of cell phone bills will not be accepted for as proof of residency. So if you have those three sets of document, you simply have to submit an application from eHealth. We will be providing link, or in once you attend the on-campus orientation next Thursday or Tuesday, we will be including some documents together with their swags, where it will include link on where to apply for those Saskatchewan health cards and the documents required. We can also throw it in the chat box, Kelsey, but yeah, like again, the main difference, Saskatchewan health card, if you need to see a doctor or you need to have access to a specialist or go to a hospital, you need to be admitted for a surgery, or for emergency cases, you visit an emergency at the hospital, that will be covered under your Saskatchewan health card. And then for the Student Association Extended Health and Dental Benefit, this will cover some of your prescriptions, those routine dental checks, eyeglasses, ambulance ride. So again, like I think we can also throw in the chat box the link of our SPSA website, so that they can contact directly SPSA. You will be meeting them during campus fair and during that first welcome week. And please go through their website, as the plan details are provided in SPSA page. Yeah.
Okay, it's right on 10:30, and again, we still have quite a few questions about co-op, so I think that I'm just gonna say that I think that will just be covered later, because you don't have to worry about that right now. I just think of all things, I don't know, I'm not trying to speak to anything. So also, if you need to know your program head, sorry, there's only one of me, it takes a second, so just email. I'm just gonna quickly throw student engagement in here, student engagement at saskpolytech.ca, and then just email me, and I'll just help you out. It's just easier that way. So also to check for your enrollment letter, you find that on your MySAS Polytech. Right, I think you like scroll to the very bottom and it'll say like enrollment verification and so on. I can't remember what the tab says, Faith, maybe you can.
Right. Or Kelsey, can you let me share my screen? I'll
Yeah, of
quickly
course.
show them how to request for that enrollment verification.
Here, you should, hold on, give me a second. Okay, you should have permission now.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Now, that is
So
easy.
when can you see my screen or
Not yet, no.
oh not okay, yeah, here you
There we
go. Okay, perfect.
Now
So
we
so first you want to enter to your MySAS Polytech portal account. Okay, so there is this MFA. And so you want to ensure you are under your student home page. So if you scroll down at the bottom of the screen, you will see enrollment verification. So this is the page where you submit that enrollment verification. Okay, so I'll just quickly show. So you just have to submit that enrollment verification, and then 1 hour after submitting that request, it will be available through your My Electronic Letters. So it's the same spot where you get your official letter of acceptance. Okay, and then sometimes you also have to ask for transcript. You'll also see the link on transcript if you need to change your address from your home country address to your current Canadian address. Please change your permanent address using this link, update address and personal information. Okay, I think that's it for this part. Sorry, Kelsey. Yeah.
Okay, so I know there's still a couple things, but overall, I would just suggest either booking an appointment with an international advisor for any other inquiries that you really, really want answered now. But just remember, next week, all of this is going to be covered too. So I'm going to just share so that you can see that QR code again. So please register right here with that cute little dinosaur. It's so cute. Oh, I love that.
Cute.
So go ahead and register now. I'll send the link one more time in the chat. And then as for any other questions, if it's international specific, you can either, again, book an appointment online with an advisor, or you can email international. So, and again, email me for your program head because I just don't have time to do all of that in here because it takes a little bit of time. Okay, so sorry, I'll find that link again. I should have it closer. Here it is. Okay, so international orientation. Everyone's going, if you haven't done so yet, you're going to take a second and you're going to do that right now. So it's right there in the chat. And then I'll send one more time the how to make an appointment. And then just try to send all this stuff. And then international@saspolytech.ca. Any other links I should throw in here? Here, we'll do mine again, student engagement. So again, international specific, talk to an international advisor. Anything else that's, anything else that's pertaining to whether it's, from housing to student support services, you can go ahead and email me at student engagement, unless it's international, email international, okay? Okay. So I think, again, we are going to wrap it up just because I know all of us or people have meetings and so on. So thank you all for coming. I'm going to just stop sharing my screen here. Okay, apply for student awards is what I want to say, but that's later. Wait, Faith, right? Isn't there a certain amount of time?
Right.
So I just randomly thought of that. I just thought I should say something. Sorry.
That's right. So for student awards, for international student, once they completed at least 1 semester with us, they will be eligible to apply for those student achievement awards. So basically, there are 2 kinds of awards. Typically, one is those financial awards, and some are achievement awards, where if you have a good standing on your program, you are welcome to apply for those student awards. But you will have to complete at least 1 semester with us. And other tip, Kelsey, is sometimes those student awards, they're looking at whether you've been actively contributing to community or the campus. So if you have those volunteering opportunities, I would recommend grabbing those, as there will be benefits, including student awards, and would be good in your resumes later on.
Okay, there's just one question that hasn't been asked yet, and then that's gonna be the last one, okay? That's gonna be the cap. This is the last one. So any other question after, you can ask over email. So how many days does my payment take through Pay My Tuition? When does it appear?
Right. So for Pay My Tuition, Kelsey, it's quite tricky because they are transferring funds from one country to another. Typically, if it's a local bank transfer, it's 2 to 3 days for local bank transfer or Canadian financial institution to SAS Polytech. But if it's coming from outside Canada, it's typical, I would say, 3 to 5 days, 3 business days to 5 business days. Pay My Tuition, there will be option to check status of your payment. You will be if you log into the portal, you'll see the current status of your transfer. But soon as your payment is received at SAS Polytech, you will be receiving the official receipt, and it will be posted through your My Electronic Letters.
That is very good to know. That's why you're the expert. Okay, well, thank you both so much for being here. Carlos did have to step out around 10. He had a meeting, so if anyone's wondering where Carlos went, he's okay. He just had a meeting. But again, thank you both, Faith and Yevgen, for being part of this. Once again, all of you who showed up, you are 20 steps ahead of it. You are going to be okay, I promise. And again, by the time the first day of classes come, you'll probably be the one giving advice to other people because you'll know so much of what's going on. So once again, just a reminder, this was recorded or is being recorded. Once all of the recordings for all of these sessions are done and posted to YouTube, I'll be sending out a mass email to everyone that registered for any of these Q&A sessions with all of those recordings. So once again, if you've missed anything, do not panic, do not worry. You are already well ahead of everything. Also, I will send up a follow-up email to everyone here that has a bunch of those applicable links. The orientation registration link, the link to eHealth SASC, and so on and so forth. So expect that within the next hour or so. Anything you want to quickly say, Faith or Yevgen?
Yes, and thank you, Kelsey, too, for organizing and inviting us for this event.
Yes, I know these are important, right? I mean, all of it's important, but I know, obviously, which is the really exciting thing about SAS Polytech is that there's so many international students, which is so amazing. So, and honestly, international students, you are usually the ones who are coming to all of those other sessions. You're the really proactive ones. So it's sort of a treat to you for being, for working so hard to make sure you're extra prepared. So, well done to you all. Thank you all for coming. And if you come to I think there's one Q&A session that happens at the same time as international orientation. Not a big deal. It's just about the employment and stuff, which is, it's important, but once again, those will be recorded, and you can always email me if you wanted more information about it. So international orientation definitely is way more important. So don't miss that. Okay.
Thank you, Kelsey.
All right, everyone. Have a good day.
Okay, thank you, guys. Yeah, thank you.